Hello and welcome to the HellfireCast, the internet's #1 podcast in terms of poor reviews and sloppy editing. Today we shall be covering the E3 2013 conferences. Basically what we're going to do today is discuss each of the conferences, what went on there, what games were shown, and then we'll give a rating to each in that typical boring internet commentator style. And then afterwards we'll do a Q&A and boom, we're done. So let's kick things off with Microsoft's conference.
Ah, yes.
Oh boy. Well, first thing that was shown was Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Not much to say about this one. It looks nice. The sped-up horse was unintentionally hilarious. And Kiefer Sutherland is the new voice of Snake.
I think he does an okay job, actually, because, it wasn't really time for David Hayter to leave, but I can see why they've done it, because the character's been on for so long, and it was about time we got a change of it, and I personally think he does an okay job. And, of course, horse stealth. Who doesn't want that in a Metal Gear Solid? Come on, you can lean on the side of your horse to avoid guards? I am sold.
What, so they're just not going to see the horse, then?
Oh, no, as soon as you, tilt on the side of the horse, that's it. You've vanished from existence for a good 2 minutes.
So that's how you activate the horse's natural stealth camouflage.
Yes, in Metal Gear Solid 5, all horses have natural opto-camo. You've just got to kind of sit on the side to activate it.
What do you think, Spa?
Not having any standing in the previous series, I thought it was pretty to look at. And that was about it.
None of us play Metal Gear, do we?
I do.
What did you think from a gameplay perspective then? The new dynamic CQC and all that.
Ah, yes, all of the fancy shit they threw in. It looked okay. It looked like it plays, nice and smooth, and there's not sort of a bit, slow down and things like that. It seems to be that it's quite a fluid game, and you can just sort of run into a room, take this guy out, smack this guy in the face, shoot the other dude across the hall, and you're done. Which is quite nice, actually. It makes a nice change from sort of Metal Gear Solid 4 kind of slowed down kind of pace.
Following this, they announced a new design of the Xbox 360, which actually, there was an interview that came just before the E3 conference, which basically said, if you don't have good internet, fuck you, buy a 360. So this is what the new design is catering towards.
It's supposed to stay in line with your Xbox One console and sit side by side on the shelf. However, if you can't afford internet, or you don't have it, get a fucking 360 and get out of our face.
Yeah, and they've redesigned the Xbox Gold system, so now it's basically like PlayStation Plus, and you get 2 free games.
Whee!
Per month, but...
Well, you see, the thing about that is, you can't transfer your downloadable titles from the 360 to the Xbox One, making it utterly pointless if you ever want to upgrade.
They didn't think this through at all. I'm sorry, but...
I think the horrible thing is, they did, and that's what makes it so bad.
Oh, I hate to think the day at the office they thought of this stuff, and then kind of rolled out the door at 4 o'clock going, right, good deal, lads.
God, the buyer's remorse that some people are going to have when they get an Xbox One and realise just, the full extent of the DRM and all the other restrictive features. I can't even bear to think of the backlash. Next up is World of Tanks for 360 and free for Xbox Gold users, and that's about all I have to say for that.
I've never heard of this game before the conference.
I've heard of it on PC. It's about 2 years old on the PC, and then they sort of threw it on the 360. MBM was having a fit about this, because he fucking loves World of Tanks. And I'm just sat there watching the conference going, okay, yeah, well done. It's like...
I'm not disputing that it might be fun. Looks fun. Doesn't interest me. Not going to get it for... I can't even remember the last Xbox Live Arcade game I bought. I think it was Sonic 4 Episode 1.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Ooh.
See, the thing about tanks and other military games is that not everyone else has a tank. In this game, everyone has a tank, so it's not special.
Okay, on this list there's a game called Max the Curse of Brotherhood, and I have no memory of this at all. Do you two?
Yeah, I watched the conference earlier, and it seems like a 2D side-scrolling platformer. Where you have some magic powers, and basically you're a kid trying to save your brother from the devil or something?
Oh, the, cel-shaded Limbo game.
Cartoony looking. Yeah, and there's dark portals and everything.
little bit like a colourful version of Limbo. It looks nice. Probably will play decently in Limbo Control decently, and that's really all I have to say about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dark Souls 2 shown for the 360. I'm sure Brit will enjoy playing the PlayStation version of this game. It's just like Chip Cheesem said on the Twitters, I will enjoy playing the PlayStation version of this product. Okay, next up is, I think one of the first, if not the first, Xbox One game shown, which is Rise, or Reese, as it should be pronounced, Son of Rome, which wants to try and fool us into thinking that it's all real time, but was apparently a Kinect game that has been forcibly changed into a free controlling game, and every single enemy kill is a quick time event, and if you fail it, you just do less damage.
Oh, yes, I remember the, epic battles of Rome, Emperor Caesar suddenly screaming to his troops, Press A! Press A! I remember them vividly in history, it was just that kind of battle. Honestly, I don't know why Rome didn't just win everything.
It did absolutely nothing for me. Maybe it's just me getting, more cynical as time goes on, having less patience for stuff like this. A lot of people pointed out it's a bit like a Roman version of Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it looked generic, it looked derivative, and if people think this is going to be a system seller, then, as I said on Twitter, you've not been playing video games for very long.
It reminded me of God of War with less actual gameplay.
It reminded me of God of War with a lot less quality and charm.
It just reminded me of God of War, but not nearly as good as God of War.
Ah, yes. And anything else to say about Rise before we continue? Why is there a Y there?
I don't know. It sounds like some kind of sweet product. Like, get your new Reese, Son of Rome, in stores today.
Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, exactly. It's Reese Pieces formed by Romans pressing QTE events. Just for you in store today. It's one of those things.
Okay, next up, and you're going to hear the words next and up a lot during this podcast, I'm afraid, because I have no way to segue naturally. Killer Instinct. I'm sure some people liked the original Killer Instinct and have been hankering for a sequel all these years. I was more waiting for a Banjo-Kazooie sequel, personally, or Jet Force Gemini, or a GoldenEye sequel that's actually, good.
Everyone was, to be honest. I mean, I never played the original Killer Instinct, but it looks nice, and it just seems like a generic fighter, but if people wanted it, then people got it. So,
I mean, I'm happy that people got a game they've been waiting for, but personally it looks a bit dull to me.
And then they, obviously Microsoft did the huge faux pas at this point in time with that nice scripted, creepy joke.
Yeah, it wasn't quite a rape joke, but it was very, I would say, socially retarded, actually.
Yeah, and apparently it was actually scripted in. That was part of what they had to say. It wasn't off the cuff. It wasn't just the guy saying, something random. It was actually scripted for him to say.
Basically, there was one guy, and there was this woman who, I'll just say it, she was a tad overweight, So obviously she's, as Helldragon said on the Twitter, which is another phrase you're going to hear a lot of during this podcast, primed and ready for internet mockery. And basically, they were just playing a game. She wasn't doing very good. Haha, girls can't play video games and so on. And they got to a point where the guy said, just let it happen, it'll be over soon, or something to...
That was exactly it, yeah. That was exactly what he said.
And, yeah, this is general banter you hear in the fighting game community, and I'll leave my comments about that particular subject for another day. But I was just watching that, and I was like, what? Did you just say that?
Yeah, it was...
And I was like, my immediate reaction wasn't that was a rape joke, it was just that was incredibly creepy.
And, it was kind of their... They brought a woman out on stage, which, in the gaming universe is a ballsy thing to do anyway. And then they had this moment where there was a woman on stage playing a fighting game, which, you wouldn't normally associate. And they had this moment where they were doing quite well, because it was a woman playing fighting games, they're doing okay. It was a nice, steadfast pillar of the community sort of thing. Then they threw that in, and it all went to complete shit, as suddenly everyone was going, what the fuck, Microsoft, what the fuck?
Next up is Actually, a little bit of a surprise. It's a game by Insomniac, who are these days known for developing for Sony platforms mostly. A very colourful shooter. That's a surprise from Insomniac, a shooting game, called Sunset Overdrive, a game so orange my eyes nearly bled just watching the trailer.
A game so orange it looked like the camera had been covered with sunny delight.
It's nice to look at, obviously. Insomniac's known for making good-to-look-at games, but I think it's focused a bit too much on the multiplayer for me to be interested, and the fact that it's also exclusive for Xbox.
Yeah.
Not only exclusive for Xbox, exclusive for Xbox One, which makes it even worse.
I love how the abbreviation for Xbox One is X-Bone. Like, as in, throws a bone already. Jesus Christ. Okay, Forza 5. Anyone here care? You care, Spar?
Cars? Bleh.
Did you?
I like cars, I like racing games. Could not give two shits about Forza, though.
I like cars, it's fucking weird.
Wrong company, Tom.
Yes, of course. Good looking game, nothing else to say.
I could smell the leather.
Okay, let's not go too far. Minecraft for Xbox One. Holy shit, could not give less of a fuck.
Why does this exist? Who cares?
If you want to play Minecraft, play it on PC. You've got mods. Boom, done. Next game, Quantum Break, not to be confused with Quantic Dream. my impersonation of David Cage gets more exaggerated each time. I can't even remember anything about Quantum Break.
I don't think any gameplay was shown. I think it was just the cutscene.
No, I remember the live-action trailer, which was the whole boat collapsing into a bridge and then stopping time.
It's that thing with the time travel and so on.
I believe this was the one that had the trailer where he had to sort of save the woman from that glass, and he stopped time and then kind of just waded through the glass, just kind of pushing it out of the way. It looked ridiculously awesome. If it is the game I'm thinking of, and I'm fairly sure it is, it looked amazing just to see like glass kind of frozen in time but being pushed out of the way.
I remember they showed that at the Xbox One unveiling, and I was like, this looks okay. Nothing that couldn't be done on a PS3, I guess.
Pretty much.
Let's see, next game, D4, available or revealed for Xbox One.
I don't remember what that is.
It was literally just a game called D4. That was it.
You sunk my battleship.
No! No, I couldn't wrap my head around because if I remember rightly, Quantum Break and then D4 were basically back to back, so you couldn't tell when one had finished and one carried on. So you were just watching the thing for Quantum Break, and then it came up Quantum Break, and then suddenly some explosions, a bit of fire, and then D4, and I was like, what? What the hell's just happened?
It's one step up from C4.
My God.
Project Spark.
I'm trying to remember this.
Project Spark was, let's take a pre-recorded demo and make it seem like it's a live demo.
Ah, yes.
That was the one where he was using the Xbox Glass or whatever, the tablet where you speak into it.
Oh, the Smart Glass.
Smart Glass, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Where you speak into it and then it creates a world or whatever.
Oh, of course! Yes!
With the rock mech and the penis rock and so on.
Yeah, that thing that looked absolutely scripted from start to finish. I remember that distinctly now, yes.
Has a lot of potential, but for me, who is a boring and imagination-less cretin, I would play it for about 5 minutes and then probably sell it. Oops, can't do that, because you can't get used games. Oops. Yeah.
Silly Tom. I mean, I'm a creative person. That thing bored the fuck out of me. Like, just looking at it and just going, congratulations, you've made the Arctic look like a penis. Well done. I could not care any less about what you've just done.
The Arctic, yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Actually, just thinking now, what that reminds me of is, Spore.
How does an Arctic remind you? How does an Arctic penis remind...
Project Spark as a whole reminds me of Spore, as in it's probably not going to live up to the promises, and there will be silly limits to it, even with the power of the cloud.
The cloud! But, no, I mean, Spore was nice up until, like, halfway through the game when it made you build, like, a planet and a spaceship and shit. Like, that was pointless. I just wanted to build an animal that looked like a retard and kill other animals with it. That was the point of Spore. I'm sorry, but that's what it was. You built an animal that had like 3 legs, a beak, 2 eyes protruding out the top of its head, no arms whatsoever, and watched it thrive in the universe. That's what Spore was.
Anything else to say about Project Spar?
Just that it has my name in it.
Very good. Next up, they revealed that the Xbox One will be affiliated with Twitch. There will be a Twitch.tv partnership, which is ironic, seeing as we're currently streaming on Twitch.tv. Ironic might be a coincidence. I don't know, don't really care. Again, as I said on the Twitters, the way that most streamers nowadays can afford to stream the latest games, and stuff like that, is A, to use used games, or B, like me, to rent games, neither of which you can do, at least efficiently, on the Xbox One, making it completely pointless.
Yep. I mean, whilst you're talking about, the used games thing, of course, the limitations of that is that you can pass it on, but only once. Like, as soon as that game leaves your hands and into someone else's hands, it's locked forever. You can never trade it on again. But you also have to have at least 10 friends on your list to be able to sell games on, so a very arbitrary limit. For some odd reason, they thought, well, clearly this guy has got 3 friends, he's clearly not going to want to sell his games, never mind, let's just carry on and move to the next guy.
Anything to say on this, Spar, since you're a bit of a Twitch streamer yourself nowadays?
I think it's a good thing that Xbox is going to be able to stream directly. That means you don't need a capture card for it. Also, I was looking at the specs earlier, and the Xbox One apparently does not have any analog output. That means no composite and no component. So people that only have dazzles like me wouldn't be able to stream from an Xbox One anyway.
Well, that's just another way of taking the choice out of your hands, Spar. You should be thanking them for this. They announced there would be no limit on friends. You could have infinite friends on your friends list. You can use normal currency. They're phasing out Microsoft points. Doesn't affect me since I don't go online with my Xbox anymore. But for people who want to buy stuff on an extremely restrictive console, more power to you.
I mean, it's a nice idea because it simplifies the whole process. It's like the PSN wallet has used like real world money for ever since it started. There's no such point system, but the whole thing about the points was that it was relatively balanced across regions. Like, if you paid for sort of, say, 600 Microsoft points, you were paying about the same across the board. Whereas now, because you're actually using currency, from what it looked like, they're not adjusting the balance at all. So you're technically, for example, if you're paying, I don't know, $10, you're going to get a lot less than you are if you're paying £10, for example. It's good. The balance doesn't seem right from what I can see anyway. They might fix it, for launch, but I'm a little bit edgy about it at the minute.
I don't think it's going to affect me since I'm not buying the console anyway.
Truer words were never said.
Okay, up next, Crimson Dragoon. All I remember about this thing is that it looks a little bit like Panzer Dragoon, maybe related to it, don't really care. But tech issues stopped the actual audio of the game from being streamed, and my god, that was awkward.
Oh, yes, it was. Oh, dear.
If you listened carefully during that part, you could actually hear the crowd starting to get rowdy, and I think the guy on stage, or one of the ushers, again, don't care which, said, be quiet.
Oh, yeah. The crowd was kind of like, woo, and they were like, shut up. But if I remember the trailer right, it said something about Panzer Dragoon. It's from it's either the creators of, or it's based on, or something like that. It's clearly based on it. It's Dragoon, but it looked ridiculously pretty. I mean, I have a big loving for dragons, so that game was just like, oh my god, look at the pretty. But
yeah, it certainly looks nice, and it'll probably be fun. Is it exclusive to the Xbox One?
I believe it is, actually. I've not seen anything saying otherwise.
Well, I don't think there's going to be a more toxic phrase in the gaming community than Xbox One exclusive from now on.
It's gonna ruin reputations and destroy friendships, quite frankly.
Dead Rising 3 was revealed, just for Xbox One, I believe, and you could not have sucked any more fun out of the franchise if you tried.
Did you see what they said about that? They were questioned about it because Dead Rising 2, you can dress them up in frilly tutus and stupid hats and bat people across the face. But Dead Rising 3, they were going for the Call of Duty audience, and you can tell my God, does that thing look atrociously bland now. I mean, they're sort of patching the whole, oh yeah, it's an open city now. You can go anywhere and ram whatever that car was through hordes of zombies. It's like, well, yes, but there is no colour, there is no fun, and there are no pink tutus. What the hell has gone on with you guys?
Yeah, and I'm just going to say, there's nothing wrong with Call of Duty. What I played, I enjoyed. It's probably a very fun franchise, has to be, to get the numbers that Call of Duty does. Nothing wrong with the series as a whole. I'll even give the fan base a pass. I'm going to blame the developers and the publishers on this one. This game did not need to pander. It had its very own niche, it had its own audience, and I'm sure it sold decently, but maybe not decently enough for Capcom's insane standards.
As a logical argument, I have to wonder why this random car mechanic can call in a military airstrike.
Oh, yes, of course, the whole smart glass shit relative to it. And it's just like, oh yeah, you can get a friend with a Windows phone to call in a fucking airstrike. It's like, what? I think one of the biggest problems I had, and I'll probably mention this again at the end, but it's just the fact that so many of these Xbox One games seem to have some kind of crappy smart glass feature tacked on that seems to be important somehow. It's we don't need more reasons to not buy your console, Microsoft. Stop it.
My problem wasn't that you used smart glass. My problem is, if you can call in, like, artillery and shit, that kind of dilutes the tension.
Yeah, it defeats the point, really.
You're in a zombie apocalypse. This isn't Mercenaries. I remember back in Mercenaries, I'd be like, yeah, can I get a orbital strike or some shit? They're like, yeah, give us like 10 million quid, boom, done. And, I went in and I captured the Ace of Hearts or something. I don't know, it's been a while. Very fun game, the original Mercenaries, by the way. Never played the sequel. But yeah, good job, you fuckers. And I hope you're going to enjoy the low sales from all the people who actually were fans of Dead Rising, not picking up the title.
You tossers.
Witcher 3 was shown. Very, very pretty looking game.
Looks better on a PC. Like they threw this one out of the bag, and I knew it was going to be on 360, but I saw the footage of it, and it looks nice and it plays nice because Witcher 2 was a great game. It was very dark RPG, but very well put together. And yeah, I saw the stuff about, I haven't looking at it on the 360. Keep doing that. The Xbox One, and just thinking, yeah, this is going to play way better on a PC. Like, I feel really bad for it because of that specific reason. Like a lot of RPGs tend to be on the PC and then tend to play a lot better on the PC. So when you port them to a console, it's not as spectacular as they'd like it to be. But I think it was one of the bigger cards that they have in their hands, certainly, because it is a good game, but unfortunately not exclusive. It's going to be on the PS4 as well.
Yeah, before I say my piece, what did you think, Spar?
I don't remember much about it, but I think there was something about the Xbox, like the developers of Witcher are from Poland, but
yep.
Something like the Xbox One isn't going to be released in Poland or something?
Yeah, at launch, the Xbox One will only work in a set amount of countries, and here's the kicker, Poland's not one of them, and the team that makes Witcher is Polish.
21, I think it is, countries, specifically 21, that it will work in on launch. And somebody had this conversation with Xbox support on the Twitter, saying, so is this true? And they were like, yes, you're only going to be able to play it in these launch countries. So they then said, so what if someone from Poland imported one from Britain, for example, to play it? And they were like, no, that's not going to work because of the internet authentication. It's just going to stop it. You literally cannot play. I mean, Japan is one of the regions that doesn't have it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, Japan is not one of the launch regions. There is the Americas. There's a lot of Europe. I believe Australia could be in there. But they've blanketed out a lot of countries on this map of launch places, and it's just. I mean, if they want to stagger the launch, this isn't exactly how you go about it.
Yeah.
You kind of say that, all right, it's going to be here in these countries for, say, a week, and then we're going to expand it. They've not mentioned anything like that. It's just flat out, these are where it's going to be, this is where you can play it, end of.
I don't know how any Japanese developer can support that.
I really don't either. I mean, I know that the 360 had a lot of problems in Japan. It just did not sell because nobody bought it, because all their JRPGs were on PS3. But from what we've seen, there's a few Japanese games on the system. You know, there's going to be a fair few on there. So it seems really odd that they've kind of gone, oh look, you make like exactly the same with Witcher. Oh, thank you for making that game. You can't fucking play it though. Get out.
Yeah, there's two massive JRPGs that we'll get to later when we discuss the Sony conference that are going to be on the Xbox One. And
yeah,
granted, they won't be out at the time that the Xbox One launches in Japan, but it seems a bit silly to burn bridges just because your console didn't sell that well. Battlefield 4 was shown. Apparently running on PCs, even though they advertised it as Xbox One.
I am not surprised. Apparently the Witcher 3 footage, I've just been told, was also PC footage as well. So, GG Microsoft. But, and that, of course, had the big tech issue, didn't it? Poor Battlefield, the poor DICE employee on stage having to sit through the audio problems with that. He looked so embarrassed. I felt so sorry for him.
Yeah.
Poor guy. But it looked, I mean, obviously we'll get to it later because it shows up in one of the other conferences, but it looked nice, but the other conference did a much better job of displaying this.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Great looking game. Probably will be fun. Other than that, never had an interest in the Battlefield series.
I mean, I played Battlefield 3 and ridiculously enjoyed it, so I am looking forward to this. But like I said, the other conference did a much better job of explaining it.
A game called Below was shown, which I can't really tell you anything about because they didn't really show us anything. They showed a guy running to a structure. He goes inside, and then it just says Below. It looks vaguely cartoony, almost like pastel watercolor. It might be distorted in my memory because, again, as I said, they didn't show much. But very indie looking. I'm sure it'll be cool.
It's made from the same guy that did Sword and Sorcery, and that was actually quite good. It was very minimalistic and very sort of 8-bit-esque. Not much detail in it at all, but this looks like a bit of a step up. Like you say, it's a nice indie title, which they kind of showed and then shot down completely. Did Microsoft, because they announced that they won't really support them anymore. Well played, is all I can say.
A company called Black Tusk is working on something. Don't remember a single thing about this, so I'm just going to skip to the next point. There was a game shown, probably CGI, of a figure wearing a robe, walks through a desert, then this giant Michael Bay-esque transformer thing comes out of the sound and goes and transforms, and the force of him transforming blows back the figure's hood, and it's Master Chief.
No, Tom, it's El Master Chief, the sombrero-wearing renegade of the deserts.
And I'll admit, that was a pretty cool bait and switch, but not the best teaser you could have done, especially for a game like Halo. Do you really think the audience that plays Halo is going to appreciate the artistic style of it? Show Master Chief shooting a gun or two. They'll love that shit. Yeah,
exactly. It's like, and then the big question was brought up, like, well, if Master Chief's wearing that suit of armor, why the hell does he need, a poncho and a cape? Like, what is the point? You are a super, solid armor-wearing futuristic piece of kit. Can't go through a fucking sandstorm, though, can it?
The next point I kind of want to save until last. So, Titanfall was shown. I think it's an arena-based FPS. A lot of these games I don't know much about, because honestly, they don't interest me. They look fun. I'll probably never play them, because again, this one isn't exclusive.
No, it's not. It was also shown at the Sony conference.
Well, someone has listed it here as Xbox One exclusive, and I'm going to have a word with that person afterwards.
I believe it was sort of said and sort of heavily hinted that it was an exclusive, but it was then later on revealed that it in fact isn't.
I think it looks pretty good. I like the mech combat, and I think the multiplayer is going to be really good, so I might actually pick that up if I get a PS4.
Yeah, I might. I mean, I do like a nice bit of mech combat, and it seemed quite, again, I'm probably going to use this word a lot as well, fluid. You just kind of climbed in the mech and that was it. You were in. You could, smash a building down with it or what have you. So it looks nice, and the way it plays seems pretty good, but it's just another generic arena FPS multiplayer thing.
again, sure it'll be very fun. Not going to pick it up, unfortunately. One other title, which wasn't shown at the conference, but was announced, I think, just afterwards, is Kinect Sports Rivals by Rare. And the only image I've seen of this game is an island which couldn't look more like Woohoo Island, even if it tried.
I think somebody opened that up in Photoshop and then went, I know what I can do with this!
It's not like Kinect Sports wasn't already ripping off Wii Sports
Oh,
anyway.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Woohoo Island is from the Wii Fit series.
Ah, yes, of course. Nice little link there. But it was, it was shown, I believe it was shown a little bit after, but the main bulk of it was shown just before on game trailers. They did like a pre-stream, and the guy from Rare, Danny something or other, was there sort of explaining about it. And they showed a bit of a video and kind of, it looked exactly like Wii Sports, except the fact that when you bowled a strike, the pins apparently exploded. So, it's Wii Sports Resort as imagined by Michael Bay, basically.
And that's all I have to say about that, so let's move on to what may be the funniest point of the Xbox conference. The Xbox One will launch in November for the price of $500 or £429 in the UK.
Or, for the European types out there, €499.
Jesus fucking Christ.
If you haven't seen more of a dicking over by currency conversions, today is your day, because sweet Jesus, that is horrible. Like, $499 comes out at about 350 quid. Yeah, the difference is
What
huge.
about this console warrants this price? Really?
Nothing. The only interesting things are multi-platform.
Yeah.
Exactly, and you know what? I'll say this. The graphics don't even warrant that price. At least the PS3, for its stupidly arrogant price, had graphics to back that shit up. It had the technology behind it.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that makes the Xbox One special is the whole DRM bullshit and whatnot.
Let's not even bring that up, because I could go on about that forever, and just how badly they approached the entire thing. And I distinctly remember when they brought the price up, I don't think anyone in the room cheered, applauded, or clapped, apart from Microsoft employees. I think they're the only people who, were happy about that price, because I think everyone shared the same sentiment. Like, what about this is worth it? How much is that piano black shit you've put on the front of it to warrant this price, Like, and then they had the balls to come out with a day one exclusive console, which has a sticker on the fucking controller. Like, what is the... I don't honestly think, when they scripted this thing together... Actually, as you said before, the scary thing is they probably did think this through. I don't know what went through their minds when they were scripting this conference as to how good they thought it was going to be. Because, honestly, it needed so much work. Just the way they presented some of the stuff and the things they brought up were just horrible. They couldn't have picked... Well, they probably could have picked a worse lineup, but they did pretty badly. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I was honestly a little bit bored throughout the conference, not insultingly so. The games at least looked pretty. But there was nothing really here for me. They're really just going after the, shooter demographic, as always, because obviously that's been shown to be the most profitable road for Microsoft to travel. And they're just going back to the day one thing again. You know what the other thing is that comes with the package?
Go on.
An achievement. And I mean an actual achievement, like a little statue of sorts.
Words fail me. Like, yes, there's a demographic they're going after, but Jesus Christ, come on.
Overall thoughts on Microsoft? I think they did horrible on this E3. The new console's pile of crap. The DRM, the always online, always watching you, it doesn't need to be there. The games they show, the only interesting things are multi-platform. I'll be getting a PS4 and or a Wii U.
It was just the elephant in the room, the DRM. They could have done so many things to spin that to their advantage. Soften the blow, make it seem better than it actually is, which they've been doing, mind you, just in their typical sneaky way behind the scenes where they think no one will notice. But wasn't addressed at all. to their disadvantage, as we'll see in a later conference. But yeah, didn't really have a fun time watching the conference. I did on Twitter mine, but that's another story.
Like you said, I didn't have fun watching this at all, but I mean, hell, doing the live cast made it worth it, honestly. Like, it was much less torturous doing that. But, I mean, just as a, sort of a final thing, of course, we didn't mention the fact that it's mandatory to have Kinect now. You have to have that on your system. All the usual stuff about the online 24 hours and things like that. It's just, it seemed to me like they could have taken that in a much better direction, instead crashed and burned with it. So I think I'm going to stick with the 2.5, I'd say, out of 5 for that.
2.5.
Yeah, not a great lineup of games. Like Spar said, most of them are multi-platform. A lot of them don't really interest me. That's a personal criticism, but whatever. And of course, the elephant in the room, the DRM, unless they patch it at a later date, which they probably won't because they're Microsoft and they stick to their guns on these sorts of things, definitely not going to pick up an Xbox One. It is a draconian device, completely anti-consumer and pro-publisher. It's not by gamers for gamers, it's by publishers for publishers. So yeah, I'm going to give the conference a 2.5 out of 5, because at least I had fun mocking the entire thing on Twitter, so there you go.